Welcome back to episode 59 of Blurred Summits. Today we are going to talk about 10 ways to have better luck and to seize the opportunities that present themselves in our lives. So Hudson, hit us with the first one.
Well, we'll kind of start with a preface here. Mostly luck, I think in most situations it's perceived luck more so than actual genuine luck, right? Like it's basically, luck isn't just 100% randomness. Luck is basically, I think the way I view it is having a higher percent of taking advantage of opportunities than average is what then you'd be perceived as lucky. And if you're less percentage of taking advantage of opportunities, then you'd consider yourself unlucky.
It's like serendipity.
What is that?
Serendipity is like the idea that like if a person who like works harder isn't more lucky, but it's just because they worked harder, so there's more like probable chance.
Yeah,
that
there's
good
more
things
opportunity, and through working hard, you'll seize those opportunities, which will then be perceived as luck. Because luck is really just more a perception than anything, right?
Yeah.
Like there's not really an actual thing. I guess there's luck when it comes to gambling, but this isn't that.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that it's all about how you perceive it, and that's why in a lot of them do discuss kind of perception and things
just
like
perceiving
that.
the things that are happening as being in your favor.
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
kind of what it is?
Yeah. Because so the first one is basically positioning yourself, right?
Right.
So basically the first step to getting more lucky is to acknowledge that it exists. Putting yourself out there and putting yourself in spots where you can take advantage of opportunity when it arises, right?
Yeah.
So basically lucky people, they put themselves in those spots where they can take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Whereas unlucky people,
you have to be in the splash zone if you want some water, right?
Yeah, I guess that does work. That analogy does work. First one in probably a couple months where you've had one that actually makes sense. But yeah, I like that. You're in the splash zone, right?
Yeah.
So you're just chilling. If you need to get that luck, as in the water, you got to walk along the edge.
Yeah.
If you're walking up the beach 50 meters,
you might get a drizzle at the top, but
every once in a while, but never.
If the whale is a big whale,
you get soaked. When you're right near the water.
Yeah,
so really you need to position yourself and get yourself in a spot where you can have these opportunities presented to you,
right?
And then take advantage of them. And then that kind of leads into this next one, which is being clear with your goals and voicing what your goals are, right?
You have to ask. Is that kind of what this one is?
No. So so the being clear with your goals sort of thing is if you want to know where you're going, you need to have it clear in your mind and know what it actually is, right? Like you could write it down or always have it in the back of your head.
Yeah.
So then you're looking for these opportunities, right?
You know what they say? They say take a notepad, write down the goal, fold it up, keep it in your wallet. Carry it around everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So like subconsciously, it's there.
Yeah, so then the next part where it's like being vocal with it, tell people what your goals are. Be vocal with it so then people can hear it. You never know when someone's going to be walking by. They're here, oh, this person's trying to do this thing. Hey, I need someone to do that task for me.
Yeah.
It increases the likelihood of someone else needing or looking for that goal that you want, right?
I guess you also have to have faith in humanity. Because I know, like, with the big idea of, like, don't tell people what your goals are.
Yeah.
The idea with that is, like, a very cynical perspective where you believe that everyone's out there to get you type thing.
Yeah,
right?
But I think it's like if you're voicing it, you have the more likelihood of someone coming up to you with that opportunity that you're looking for.
You have to kind of realize that maybe people are out there to support each other. You know?
Well, yeah, if you tell the world your goals, maybe the world will give you the opportunities.
Yeah.
And if you don't tell them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of those two come hand in hand, right? Where it's if you don't know them, then you're not going to be able to find them. And if you know them and you tell them out loud, then people will be able to find them for you. So it's kind of like step one, step two sort of process with that. And I think successful people do that, right? They really do tell people what they're doing. They kind of make people aware and say, hey, these are some opportunities. Like Elon Musk with Mars.
Yeah, and I think like a big discrepancy is that you are not afraid to tell people what you're doing, but you're not just telling people what you're doing for the sake of saying it.
Yeah, you're doing it to try to arise opportunity.
Like Elon Musk isn't walking around saying, oh, I'm going to take everyone to Mars, I'm going to take everyone to Mars, but he's not taking any action on it.
No, he's doing it.
Which seems to be a trend in like everyone else is, we're just saying what we're going to do, but we're not actually doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it and he's trying to lead towards it, right? Then people will be like, oh, I've got these parts you need for it. Here, use these.
Yeah.
We want to help out, right?
Yeah.
And then by voicing it in a way where you actually want to do it, you'll get people behind you. So the next one here is you need to be relaxed, right? Because when you're stressed out, your optimism and ambitiousness decreases due to your stress, right? But when you're relaxed, you can be happy and you can expand outwards and then have more opportunities and actually see what's going on, right? Because it's like you did the little hand thing, right? Where it's when your hand's super stressed out and flexed.
Yeah.
It's hard to control and you're kind of distracted by you flexing your hand. But if your hand's just kind of sitting there loose, you can think around, notice all the other things going on.
Also with stress is that, stress tunnel visions us.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is like a biological thing too, because think about it. If you're in a stressful situation, you're running away from a bear, right? Yeah. You need to be very goal oriented. I'm running away from the bear. Nothing else matters. If there's a clown in a circus by your side, you're not going to be paying attention to that circus because you're running away from a bear.
Yeah.
So this is a natural stress response, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with our normal life. If we're always stressed out, then we get real zoned in. It might be really helpful in the immediate
you're
just trying to
zoned
get
in
somewhere.
on your stress, but you're not actually sitting back, relaxed. Everything becomes clear, and you could see that opportunity pass by and you can go grab it.
Yeah, you need that field of view to be wide.
Yeah. So then the next one here is you need to be proactive, right? You need to take charge of your life and stop blaming maybe other things and external factors for what's going on, right? So through proactivity, you can then take charge of your life, kind of lead yourself in the direction you want to go instead of sitting back and reacting to what's happening around you. So basically drive yourself towards your goal. It'll give you more opportunities and therefore more perceived luck compared to those who are reactive.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, because if you're sitting back and waiting, you just need to hope that this opportunity hits you in the face to take advantage of it, right? But if you're being proactive, you're going out taking steps to get towards your goal, increasing those opportunities. And even though if maybe you have the exact same success rate of taking advantage of those opportunities, there's more opportunities when you're proactive than reactive.
Right. So what is because I feel like maybe there's a fine line between desperation and being proactive.
I don't think there's a fine line. How is there a fine line?
Well, I think if you're desperate, then you're going to appear very desperate, right? And opportunities, like with luck, I guess we're talking about it, it's where it appears for things to fall in your lap.
Yeah.
That's the perception.
And if you're proactive, then that's basically.
But
if you're reactive, that's basically what happens is you're waiting for something to sit on your lap. But if you're proactive, you're basically walking around trying to catch that thing instead of going to kind of go out and reach for it a bit.
So do you think that it's ever harmful for a person to go to the extreme with proactivity?
Well, yeah, a little bit, because then they look like they're trying too hard, right? There comes a point where you kind of go past that line. But obviously, if you're just chugging along by yourself, working towards your goal, things will usually tend to work towards that favor.
Yeah. I guess it's like, you need to set your sails for an island.
Yeah. But
you can't say that I'm going to go against the waves.
Well, it's never 100%, right? Wherever you're going. So you just, basically go where the wind takes you with that. But
you can't change the wind. You can only change your sail.
If you're trying to aim towards somewhere, then you can, yeah. Okay. So then the next one here is basically have good karma, right? So it's like the law of reciprocity. That's it. I feel like there's more vowels, but yeah. So it's basically you want to treat others the way you want to be treated, and then through doing that, you'll get rewarded by the world, right? Basically, eventually, if you do enough good deeds, something will eventually have to happen good to you, right? And even if it innately doesn't, you'll feel better as a person, and then you'll be happier, which will then.
Well, yeah, I think like. If it doesn't happen in the way that you believe it's going to happen, it'll happen still, but just in a different way.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because if you bring all these negative vibes into the thing, how can you expect something good to happen out of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you're nice and kind, helping, volunteering, doing these small little gestures continually, eventually the good will come back to you.
And I think the intention behind your actions is very important too. It's like you can't just do good things and treat people with kindness because you expect to get returns, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be an intention of like, okay, I actually want to do this. I actually want to be helpful. I actually want to be of service to other people.
And I think when you do that, then you will innately become a little more lucky. I think a lot of it is changing how you perceive things, right? So when you kind of flip it onto that positive side of things, you'll perceive things as more brighter and you'll be more lucky, right? Because really it is a mindset more than anything when it comes to it.
I think really luck is, I agree with you. It's a bit of a mindset where I think we're all lucky. Good things happen to all of us.
Yeah.
Things that we don't expect happen to all of us, right? But with luck, if you don't perceive it, if you don't pay attention to it,
yeah,
then it's going to pass you by.
Exactly. Yeah, spot on. So the next one here is, do you want to turn bad luck into good luck, right? So basically, when you have a bad situation, look at it from the flip side. Be the optimist in the world, right? Like, oh no, this bad thing happened, but it happened for a reason. It helped me get towards what my end goal was that you've done earlier in step 2 or whatever that was, right?
Yeah.
And you need to learn from those. Like, when you have bad luck, usually that is you maybe slipped up or you did something wrong that caused that bad luck. So you want to learn from your mistakes and kind of prevent that from happening again, right?
Yeah, and with that as well, it's hard to see it going forward, but it's really easy to see it looking back.
Like your mistakes, or
to see how the thing that is bad luck actually ends up being helpful, right?
Because
like,
everything happens
in the
for
moment,
a reason,
it really sucks. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened to me. But so often we look back and we think, oh, like 2 years ago, that thing that happened to me, wait, that actually ended up being a very positive thing. That actually ended up being something that was really amazing.
Well, even if in the moment it's a bad thing, it could it could shift your path towards where you actually would need to be, right?
And if it takes you, if that bad thing changes your perspective and elevates you and skyrockets you to the next level, then was it a bad thing?
No. I mean, in the moment it was, but long run, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It innately had more good than bad from it, right?
Yeah.
So you just need to take advantage of the mistake. If you make mistakes, embrace them, learn from your change, or learn from your mistakes and grow, right? Because if you don't learn from them, you're just going to keep making the same mistakes and then feel like, oh, I'm just getting unlucky. No, you're just not learning from your mistakes.
And this is something that we spoke about in a past episode with Ahmad, where he said, you know, you need to leave those mistakes in the past and learn to forgive yourself along with those things. So, you know, if bad luck comes your way, then you can't remain attached to it, right? You can't remain attached to some negative things that happen to you. You need to be able to allow ourselves to move forward from it.
But I think you don't want to forget the bad things that happen to you. I think that's because then you're just bound to let them happen again, right? Because that's like the things with wars, right? It's you forget what happened in the past, it's bound to happen again. And that, like, I think you always want to like have it in the back of my mind, be like, okay, I slipped up there, and this is kind of what I did. So then you kind of stop it from happening again. You can't just say, oh, well, I messed up on that test because I didn't study, scrap that, and then 3 weeks comes by, oh no, I wrote another test and I failed it. Oh no, it's because I didn't study again? Yeah. You're just not learning, right?
Yeah, I suppose if you internalize the lesson that you learned from that mistake, that's the thing that you want to keep with you. Everything else can be left behind.
Like what? What is in the everything else?
Well, everything else, like if you made a mistake, like let's say that you felt real bad. Leave the bad feelings behind. Keep the lesson, leave the bad feelings behind, right? Leave those negative elements of the bad, leave those behind. Take the lesson with you forward.
Yeah, I guess. But I think part of having the bad there, though, is reminding you why. Because like there's no, what's the word? Then there's no meaning behind the lesson. You need to have the meaning behind the lesson in that, I'd say. And the meaning there is, because there was all that stuff, it was really important, that's why I messed up. Don't make that mistake because it's really important. Because like then you can't really finish the puzzle if you're missing the rationale for why that thing you did was bad, right? Because if you just have a lesson and you don't have why that lesson was the wrong outcome, how are you able to rationalize not doing it
Okay,
again?
so then how does a person keep the rationale and the lesson and the things that they want to keep without letting this past mistake stiffen them and leave them stuck in this one phase of their life?
What?
Because a lot of times you make a mistake, you get stuck in that moment. Right?
No.
Okay, well, you're a very advanced person. Because I feel like for a lot of us, myself included, if we make a mistake, we get stuck in that mistake. Right? We get stuck thinking about what I should have done differently, what I could have done differently, what I should have, could have, that kind of type vibe. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So then you're stuck. You can't progress on because you keep thinking about what could have been, what I should have done.
See, the thing is, you don't keep thinking. You think maybe for a bit, those are the things, stop thinking, those are what you take forward with you. Your mistake is like, or what you said there, you just keep thinking and thinking and thinking.
Right.
Cut yourself off. Be like, okay, that's my initial first thoughts. These are the emotions I had. Stop. Done. There. Forget it. It's in the past. I have those things. That's it. Right.
Respect.
Because in your thing, you're like, look, I kept thinking and thinking.
Yeah.
That is the
there's
thing.
cycles
the issue
of
isn't
thought.
Like your issue there isn't holding on to the emotions. You're just continually thinking about the previous outcome. That is what the mistake is that you're saying. The emotion isn't the thing that's stiffening you up. Right. It's your mind stiffening you up because you're constantly thinking about that past event.
You're just reliving it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, in the example you gave, you're just constantly. It's just trapping that in, and you're just redoing and redoing it in your mind, which is why you're stiffening up.
Interesting.
So you think, okay, those are the emotions. This like initial things. That's what I could have done differently. Remember that. Oh well, the past is in the past at that point. But you still have the lesson. You have the emotion that came along with making that mistake, and then that should prevent you from having to make that same mistake, right?
Interesting. Okay.
At least that's my perspective on that.
I like it.
Okay, so the next one is live in the now, right? So it's easy to get caught up in the past, in the future, things that aren't necessarily going to impact you immediately in the moment. So live in the moment, what's around you, kind of be just happy with whatever, content with whatever's going on.
Yes.
And you'll kind of notice the world open up to you. You'll notice all these chances, all these opportunities around you, right? And you can go out and
that's what Buddha said.
do them. Who did?
Buddha.
That's the guy's name?
Yeah, his name. The Buddha. Buddha.
I didn't know there was a singular Buddha.
There is a singular Buddha.
Okay.
What?
I thought it was plural. There's Buddhas.
No. Buddha was a guy. He was a prince who lived a long time ago.
Oh, I was thinking about the religion,
Buddhism is based off this guy.
Okay.
He was the guy who started it.
Some random prince?
Well, he was a prince, and then he basically like realized like he lived a sheltered life, and then he realized he was very unhappy with it, and there was like other things around the world. So then he went to like asceticism, which is where he basically starved himself. So he went from like two opposite ends, and then he realized even when I am, suffering and starving and poor, I'm still not happy. He thought like, that would make me happy, but he realized, no, I'm still suffering. So then he came up with the idea that like suffering is living in any moment other than the present. That's what he defined as suffering. I thought that was a really great definition of suffering. It's like, if you want to live in bliss, live in the moment. Yeah. Everything else, that's suffering.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that does, seems quite logical.
Should do an episode on Buddha.
Okay.
Interesting story. Anyways.
So the next one here is be curious about everything, right?
Right.
So ask lots of questions, be kind of inquisitive about lots of these things, right? Because if you're not questioning things, you'll just have this one linear path that you're looking at. But if you start questioning things, you'll be able to shift your perspective and see these doors that once might have appeared shut. Yeah. To be creaked open, half open, completely open from maybe shifting your angle, right? Yeah. So asking questions, being inquisitive, will let you see these different opportunities that you wouldn't normally see if you're on just your singular path, right?
And if anything, if you're real curious and you're just asking questions for the sake of learning and really taking in these different things, then you're going to become more competent about the world. You're going to have a better understanding of reality and what the world is.
Like maybe it won't give you an opportunity in the short run. Yeah. But in the long run, your vision will just start to be, your field of view will be much bigger.
Competence and luck seem to be positively correlated. Yeah. Right? I think, the people who are the most competent, generally, like it seems like they get pretty lucky. Elon Musk is a pretty competent person.
Who challenge the status quo, who are trying to wonder what else is going on, right?
And you can't challenge the status quo if you don't know what it is.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. So then the next one here is you want to consider yourself lucky, right? That's the mindset thing. As if you consider yourself lucky, then you'll be able to change your mindset and then view things more from the positive side, right? Yeah. So I think one of these things was you write down and like maybe do this over like a singular week. Anytime something happens that's lucky, write it down in a notebook. Notice then every time that happens, just write another one down. You'll notice the trends in your luck and be like, oh wait, I'm actually way more lucky than I once thought, right? Yeah. So it's like you can notice because it's really, if you're not really looking for it, you won't realize how lucky you are.
Yeah, that's why they say gratitude's a big thing, right? They say like be real grateful and like really want positive things and think about those first thing, last thing of the day. The reason is that if you constantly think about positive things that are going good in life, these sorts of things, then it will attract more good. Yeah. It will be a positive cycle.
Yeah, and yeah, like since luck is like self-fulfilling, right? Like say before some big event, like an interview, presentation, sporting event, test, whatever. Sit down and consider yourself lucky. Like genuinely say, I am like lucky. Get yourself in that mindset because it's self-fulfilling, right? So if you think yourself positive like that, it's more likely for the positive outcome to happen. Get lucky with what lucky sees the opportunities. What's really what that is, right? So if you're looking for that mindset, that lucky mindset, that's more likely for it to occur.
Yeah.
And then the very last one here is surround yourself with positive people, right? Because if you're in like a very negative friend group, it's very easy to get sucked down by whatever that negatives is in the situation. So then you're distracted in the negatives and not able to see the rest that's going on around you, right? I'd consider negativity to be basically shaders. So it kind of blocks you out
that is
and
what
narrows.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. And blocks you out and narrows your field of view into just that one little situation. But if you're in like a positive friend group, everything's opens up, right? Those shaders are taken off. You can see so much more around you. Even if you're just having a good time with your friends, there's opportunities there. You're not just blocked in by those things, right? I think positivity breeds excellence, breeds success, which success is through opportunity and luck.
Yeah, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
There we go.
Big with them quotes today.
It's I think it's definitely true because if you look at people of achievement, they kind of, they flock together. The people who started PayPal were a group of beasts.
Who was it?
It was Elon Musk and his gang of guys, right? No, but his gang of guys were extremely exceptional. Yeah. Each of them, they went on to make things like Yelp, LinkedIn, other like space companies. Like, I don't know, it was insane. Like,
they're successful.
They had a bunch of successful people. They started so many businesses. They literally gave them the name the PayPal Mafia. Right? Like the PayPal Mafia was literally the name of these guys. And it really shows if you have a circle of individuals of excellence, well, then it seems like all these guys are the damn luckiest guys in the world. Yeah. Right? But they're not. They just surrounded themselves with those other people.
The environment you're around has such a big impact on your outcome, right?
Absolutely.
And in the moment, sometimes it's tough to be like, oh, wait, maybe these people aren't the best for me. They're going the wrong direction.
Tough luck.
You got to be true with yourself, right?
Exactly. And that's the hardest part sometimes. But what can you do, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can cut them off, but that's what you can do. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. If you found the information that we shared with you helpful, think of one friend who might benefit from that information and be sure to share this podcast with them. Catch the full video podcast on YouTube, the full audio podcast. It's out on all platforms. Be sure to follow us on Instagram as well. Thank you.